अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां. Om. Murthy, you like to unmute your device? Mute your device. Hari Om once again. It was enjoyable listening to Dr. Murthy and Vani. I remember from my childhood days, this song sung by Subbalakshmi was something so melodious. We enjoyed it, but never knew the meaning of it. It was a very nice song and we enjoyed it. Thanks to Guruji's, thanks to Swami Paramarthananda, today when we hear each of these words with our extremely limited knowledge of Sanskrit, if each of those words have given us a profound meaning to give us a deep understanding, it is thanks to the Guru Kripa. Extremely fortunate to get the privilege of being able to study this. We will continue our study with Dr. Raksha, the opening speaker for today.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Bhajagovindam verse 24 goes this way. Tvai mai chanyat raiko vishnuho vyartham kupyati maya sahishnuho bhava samachittaha sarvatratvam vanchasya chirat yadi vishnutvam. This verse is by Shankara, recited the name Medatithi. Tvai in you, my in you, anyatra everywhere. There's Eko Vishnuho, one Vishnu. Vyartham kupyasi. Why do you get
Hello, Raksha madam.
Sir,
Sir?
Yes, sir.
I think I accidentally.
She's back, sir. Yes, madam, continue.
Tvam bhava, may you become samachittaha, equanimity of the mind, sarvatra, everywhere, achirat, soon, vanchasi, may you acquire, yadi, if this is what you desire, vishnutvam. Vishnutvam is the state of God realization or the state of Satchidananda. Vishnu Sahasranama starts with Vishvam Vishnu Vashatkaro. Vishnu is the all-pervasive. Vye Vyashti iti Vishnuho, one who pervades. The beautiful truth which scriptures reveal as Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Truth is one. Sages call it by different names. All the Upanishads bring about the same essence of Advaita. The Mahavakya in Chandogya Upanishad says, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All this is indeed Brahman, which is the same as Vishnu mentioned in this verse. The goal of any spiritual path must be the path of ultimate truth. For that, one has to look within. If you want to look at your reflection in a lake, its surface must be calm. Similarly, to see within, one has to have a pure and calm mind, which becomes meditative. This is possible by giving up the Arishad Vargas. In this verse, where he says Asahishnu, which is intolerance, and Kupyasi, getting angry in vain, and developing Titiksha. Viveka Chudamani says, Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam sa titiksha nigadyate. A mind which is subject to anxiety and lament is as distant as ever from inquiry, the inquiry of self. From titiksha one develops samachittaha. Verse 48 of Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 brings about the equanimity in success and failure. Yogastha Kuru Karmani. Such a Yogastha is called Sthita Prajna in Karma Yoga. The meaning of this verse of Bhajagovindam is highlighted in Ishavasya Upanishad, verse 7. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanataha tatra ko mohaha kaha shokaha ekatvam anupashyate. When a person realizes that the self itself has become all beings, then what delusion or sorrow can be there, as he sees oneness only? Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, beholding diversity is born of delusion. Beholding unity is born of enlightenment. I would like to quote from Mankutimmana Kaga, ಮೂಲ ವಸ್ತುವದೊಂದು ಲೀಲೆಗೋ ಸುಗನೂರು ಕಾಲ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬಹುಳ ಕೇವಲದೊಳೇಕ ಸ್ಥೂಲ ವಿವಿಧದಿ ಬಾಳಿ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಸಾಮ್ಯವ ತಾಳಿ ಆಳುತ್ತಿರು ಜೀವನವ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Aksha. A very nice explanation of this verse. We'll proceed to Ullas.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
Most of it, pretty much Dr. Raksha said, is also said in this verse about equanimity. Let me start by saying that I have a few friends. Some are diehard friends of fans of Federer, and some are diehard fans of Nadal. And if you would ask them why, then they will say, I like his style or that person's style. And then if you dig deeper, then ultimately it will come to just because. There is no real objectivity behind liking one thing or the other. Over so many births, we have actually created so many vasanas for ourselves. We have generated so many likes and dislikes. Again, there is no real objectivity behind it. Some people would like Man U versus Chelsea. I might even go ahead and say some people would like Hinduism versus Islam. And then we would blame God for all the problems. But do we even live in the God's world? Swamiji says, no, we live in our own world of our likes and dislikes. Whoever likes my likes is in my camp, is my friend. Whoever likes what I dislike is not in my camp, is my enemy. So we create a lot of friends and enemies in this world, and then we see the world from our own eyes because of all the vasanas over the different births. And again, there is no objectivity behind it. And now once we have created these enemies, we will spend a lot of time in reconciling with them. It's just a waste of time. It never ends. What does it even matter that what their opinion is, that they would judge about me? We can't really change anybody's opinion anyway. So then what should we do? Shouldn't we do anything? No, Shastrochit, whatever is there, we should do whatever is proper. And then leave whatever they have to think or whoever thinks about it. Don't need to waste time in pleasing everybody. Then, so the first line says, Shatrau mitre putre bandhav. Enemies, friends, sons, brothers, ma kuru yatnam. Don't spend time in pleasing these people. What should then you do? Bhav samachittaha sarvatratvam. You become equanimity. You become equanimous. Become even-minded if you want to attain Vishnutvam very soon in your life. Spend your time wisely. Do sadhanas. Prepare your mind. Now, if the mind is attached in all the external happenings, then it will always be in bondage. It will always get affected by whatever is happening in the outside world. So the remedy is to become detached. Now, how do we become detached? It's easier said than done. And as in verse 24, Dr. Raksha also said, it's basically how do we identify ourselves with? Do we identify ourselves with a part or the whole? That makes the entire difference. As Swamiji also says that Vedanta is all about changing of attitude. So if we change our attitude from part to a whole, all these problems will get resolved. So in my earlier example, instead of identifying with a Federer or a Nadal, if I identify with the game tennis, then there is no real feud. Then I enjoy every match. Then I don't have any enemies or I don't have any friends. Now I am in Samatvam. Now I like everything. So I don't have to waste time in pleasing anybody or quarreling with anybody. Countries spend years and years or decades together in reconciling these efforts, and then nothing really comes out of that. So at our personal level also, we do something similar. So the basic moral of the story here is that bring that detachment, identify with the underlying Brahman, which is the uniformity in all of us. The duality happens because of the external appearances. So a jnani or an intelligent person actually looks beyond, looks what's the substratum underneath. And once he realizes that everyone is the same, then there is no loving, even loving as well as hating, because it just is. audience.
Thank you, Ullas. Really brilliant explanation. It is nice that we have such good teachers amongst us. As you very clearly said, there are two types of creations. One is the creation by God, which is called Ishvara Shrishti, which generally has no problem. The problem is I project a creation from God's creation and create a projected world of my own called Jiva Shrishti. And the whole of our Shastric work through Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Jnana Yoga is to find that common factor, and thereby, as you said, more easily said than done, to remove this Veda, to remove this difference requires all the exercise that we are doing. With that, we go to Dr. Anupama. Your time starts, verse 26. Are you there?
Yes. Should I start?
Please.
Okay. Kamam krodham lobam moham tyaktva bhavaya koham atmajnana vihina moodaste pachyante naraka nigudaha. The author is Bharati Vamsha. Here he describes four emotions: kamam, passion or obsession with the external world, the anatma; krodham, anger arising from obstructed desire; lobham, the greed resulting from fulfilled desire; moham, delusion of obtaining purnatvam from the apurna. The author says, give up this misdirected lifestyle. Tyaktva atmana bhavaya koham. Do self-inquiry and discover the atma in yourself. Koham means, what is my real nature? For those ignorant of the self, Atma Jnana Vihina Mudhas, the entrapment of samsara leaves them roasted in agony in the 14 worlds of sorrow. Pachyante Naraka Vimudha. In this verse, the entire spiritual sadhana is condensed in the first and second lines. Through Karma Yoga, remove mental impurities. By Dhamaha, Samaha, Viveka, develop mastery over Indriyas, the Manaha and Buddhi. Through Atmanam Bhavaya, Jnana Yoga, do Koham, what am I, inquiry. In the third and fourth lines, he vividly describes the consequences of Atma Jnana Vihina Mudhas, who, according to him, are roasted and tormented by being imprisoned, Nimudha, in the jail of samsara. We therefore need to escape from this samsara. Now, what difference does Atma Jnana bring about? Ramana Maharshi says, Ajnasya Vijnasya Cha Vishwam Asti. Whether ignorant or wise, the experiential world is the same. Purvasya Drishya Jagadeva Satyam. For the ignorant, the world alone is the ultimate reality. Parasya Drishyam Ashraya Bhutam Ekam. For the wise, the subjective consciousness, which is the adhishtanam of this inert universe, is the only Satyam Prapurnam Pravibhatya Rupam. So, how do we get there? Negate this objective world. The subject-object duality goes. Once duality goes, limitation goes. With limitation gone, mortality goes. With mortality gone, insecurity goes. So, with duality, limitation, mortality, insecurity all gone, samsara goes. Though all the teaching of the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita, etc., we've been loaded with this information. But like Arjuna, we often wonder, prompted by what do we commit sins, even though unwilling, as though forcibly persuaded? And Krishna replies, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidihi enam vairinam. That is, it is this desire, it is this anger born out of rajoguna. It is insatiable, it is very sinful, and it is the very enemy of our lives. Therefore, there is no external angel in heaven or devil controlling us. Ajnana of dharma adharma, atma anatma aviveka, this ajnana alone bifurcates as kama and krodha. The nature of this kama is mahashana. There is no way of satisfying because the adhishtanam of all kama is apurnatvam. Krodha is described as mahapapma and can lead to violence often. Krishna says, enam vairinam vidihi. Therefore, these emotions, the kama, krodha, lobha, moha, are described as highways to hell. The moha or delusion eclipses our viveka shakti, comparable to the dushpurna anilena, the insatiable raging flame that will destroy its very locus. And they are Jnanina Nitya Vairina, the eternal enemy of every spiritual student. For spiritual student, the greatest wealth is Viveka. So we have to become Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannas, gain Atma Jnana, attain Purnatvam, and rise above these emotions. Thank you.
Wonderful. You gave us the whole darshan of all the sadhanas and all from using this explanation or using this verse, you went to Ramana. I think that was quotation from Saddarshanam and from the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much. It was nice listening to you. We go to the next speaker, Chaitanya.
Gurubhyo Namaha. Verse 28, for this 27 here. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram, Deyam Sripati Rupam Ajashram, Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam, Deyam Dina Janayacha Vittam. This verse was written by Sumati, another disciple of Shankaracharya, but not much is known about him. Here he talks about 4 sadhanas that everyone should practice. They are Shastra Parayanam, Dhyanam or Upasana, Satsanga and Danam. The first line says, Gita Nama Sahasram Geyam. He says one should regularly chant the Bhagavad Gita and Vishnu Sahasranama. Swamiji says that you need not restrict to just this. We can chant anything, he says. And also he says that non-Vedic Parayanam is preferable as you need not know the correct intonation or swara, unlike Veda Parayanam, which needs to be done perfectly. Swamiji also says knowledge of the meaning of non-Vedic Parayanam is not compulsory. If you know, excellent, but if you don't know, also is okay. Just chant regularly. Second line says, Deyam Sripati Rupam Ajashram. May you meditate always upon Lord Vishnu's form. Sripati here means Lord Vishnu. That also does not mean everybody should meditate only upon Lord Vishnu. One can meditate upon any of your Ishta Devatas. The important thing is Dhyanam or Upasana. Neyam Sajjane Sange Chittam, says the third line. May you gradually develop interest in Satsanga with like-minded people and a Guru. This is just reinforcing what Adi Shankara has said earlier in the 11th verse, Satsangatve Nissangatve. He says, associate with Gurus, Satsanga. Slowly you will get the qualifications for your spiritual journey. Last line says, Deyam Dina Janaya Cha Vittam. For deserving people, that is Dina Janaya. Vittam Deyam, give wealth in any form according to your capacity. Danam here means charity or gift. But Danam does not mean just donating money. It means giving or sharing your food, your love, your time, your knowledge, your possessions, your skill, basically anything you have to share, and share it with a big heart. Swamiji, in fact, gives a lot of importance with sharing love. And then Lord Krishna says in chapter 18 of verse 5 in the Bhagavad Gita, Yajna Dana Tapaha Karma Na Tejyam Karyameveva Tat Yagno Danam Tapaschaiva Pavanani Manishinam, which means activity in the form of yajna, charity and austerity should not be given up. It has to be performed necessarily. They are the purifiers to the devout people. Here Krishna cites 3 basic disciplines all should follow. Yajna, that is worship of the Lord in any form, Danam and Tapaha. These disciplines purify your mind and prepares you in the next phase of our spiritual journey. They are like stepping stones in our spiritual path. So we need to practice these sadhanas or disciplines. Only then we can make our lives meaningful to ourselves and also for others. Thank you.
Thank you. Another nice presentation. We go to Shiv Kumar for the next verse. Shiv.
Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Prostrations to my Guru and pranams to all. Adi Shankara burst forth with 12 stanzas of Bhaja Govindam after composing the first stanza. Inspired by the extempore recital of Shankara Bhagavad Pada, each of his 14 disciples composed a verse, and these 14 verses are called Chaturdasha Manjarika Stotram. Shankara added 5 more stanzas at the end, bringing the total to 31. This is one of these 5 verses. Sukata kriyate Rama bhoga paschat hanta sharire roga yatapi loke maranam sharanam tatapi na munchati papa charanam. The translation is like this: very readily one indulges in carnal pleasures. Thereafter, alas, come diseases of the body. Even though the ultimate end is death in the world, man does not give up his sinful behavior. The first line, Sukatha kriyate Rama bhogaha, it means easily. Rama means woman. Rama bhoga means carnal pleasure, which means man succumbs easily to the impulse for lust or pleasure. Our sense organs have been created instinctively to have a natural affinity for sense objects. Thus, man is always in search of pleasures and wastes away his energy and life, resulting in paschadanta sharire roga. Thereafter, alas, a pity, after spending his life in sense pleasures, he suffers from all kinds of sharire roga, bodily diseases. In Vairagya Chatakam, Bhartrahari says, Bhoge Roga Bhayam. There will be Roga Bhayam whenever there is an attachment to sense gratification. The disease that we suffer are because of our abusing our body. Yadyapi Loke Maranam Sharanam. Everyone living know that death is imminent and that Maranam of the body is the finale. Even knowing that one is ultimately going to die, still Papa Charanam na munchati. He does not give up his sinful ways. Scriptures declare that we are not owners of anything, not even this body. It is given by Lord only to use temporarily as an instrument to gain higher spiritual goals. Using is our aim and owning is not. Even after knowing that death is final, we are still incessantly aimed at acquiring and owning something, even by committing a sin sometimes. Abuse of this janma, this body, and waste away in sense gratification is a papa or a sin. I summarize the takeaways from this verse, where Shankaracharya in this verse is warning us that with ignorance, we are exhausting and wasting this precious opportunity of human life without recognizing its value. Dr. Anupama quoted and explained verse 37 of chapter 3 Bhagavad Gita. So here, trying to satisfy one's desires is like pouring ghee over the fire, which will only increase the anxiety and desire. This can be removed, or the solution to have is Ishwararpana Bhava and Prasada Buddhi. Constant thought of Lord will purify our mind, and only such a pure mind will be able to apprehend the subtle truth of one's own nature of the self. In Upadesha Saram, Bhagavan Ramana says, Ishwararpitham na ichchaya kritam chitta shodakam mukti sadakam. Work which is performed as an offering to the Almighty and done without any expectation for the fruits helps in purification of the mind, leading one to liberation or realization. In verse 9.7 Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yad karoshi, yad asnani, yad juhusi, dadasi yad tapasyasi kaunteya, tad kurushva mad arpanam. O Arjuna, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever dhana you give, do it by offering it to me. Viveka Chudamani, Sri Shankaracharya explains that there are three things that are said to be extremely rare and is possible only with the grace of the Lord. They are Manushyatvam, to be born as a human, to have strong desire for Gnanam, and to be under the blessing of the teacher. Friends, we are blessed with all these three. Life should not be wasted away merely in sensuous pleasures. Let's constantly contemplate upon the purpose of life and do dhyanam incessantly. Hari Om.
Thank you, Shiv Kumar. So nicely you brought out the message with all relevant quotations from different scriptures that we have studied. Listening to you and all the previous speakers, the joy is not only studying the Bhajagovindam, but also to realize that we have so many who are such good teachers amongst us. Sudha, your time. Are you able to unmute?
Doctor?
Go ahead.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes. Now we can hear.
Here in this verse, Shankaracharya is lifting the veil of delusion with regard to wealth. Wealth here, not only money, name, fame, position, profession, anything. We have already seen in Shloka, Muda Jahihi Dhanagama Trishna, that was in the earlier part of this Bhajagovindam, in the first half of Bhajagovindam, that money is not the cause of happiness at all. Here, in this Shloka, Shankaracharya is going one step ahead and tells that, in fact, it is the cause for unhappiness too. Let us look into the Shloka. Arthamanartham bhavaya nityam nasti tata sukalesha satyam putradapi dhana bhajam bhitihi sarvatraisha vihitaritihi. So here, artham anartham, we should understand that obsession with wealth is not good, not wealth. Wealth we need for all our purposes, for our necessaries, for our comforts, and for a good standard of living. So it should be understood that obsession or attachment to wealth is responsible for bringing grief in different forms. And one loses the capacity to distinguish between right and wrong. So that is why it is said, Nasti tata sukhalesha satyam. There is not a bit of happiness in the pursuit of this wealth. Putradapi dhana bhajam bhitihi. The wealthy fear even their own children. Sarvatraisha vihitaritihi. This has become common everywhere. So let's see. Among the Purusharthas, Artha occupies the second place. That is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. It is put in this way, wealth should be earned by righteous means and should be utilized for fulfilling the dharmic desires which lead to moksha. Let us look into few famous quotes which throw light on this topic. It is said that wealth that you hoard is not yours.
Seem to have an issue.
Hello, madam. Murthy, sir. No. Internet problem, maybe.
We'll proceed and we'll come back later then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hari Om, doctor. Are you able to hear?
Continue.
Okay, doctor. Oh, money is like menu. Money is like in one place and pollute. It is spread and scattered over the field. It rewards you with the bumper harvest. So too with money. If utilized for charity, good cause, it gives joy to one and all. As we have seen in Chaitanya Madam's explanation, she has given beautifully that money should be used for charity. It is said in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, when Devas, Asuras, and human beings approached Prajapati, Prajapati gave only one letter
that is da. And that for human beings, which means danam. Now let us look into another. Properties are not proper types, it is told. Queen Victoria was ruling over the British Empire for a long time. She had a son who was so impatient and wanted to sit on the throne and rule. In an open meeting, he went and asked the queen when she would die so that he might occupy the throne. The queen immediately put him behind the bars, even though he was the son, and he had no respect for the mother. This is the effect of being obsessed with money, name, fame, position. It's said that money comes and goes, but morality comes and grows. A story in the Upanishad goes like this. A mother who cared for her son so lovingly, who lost his father at a young age. She provided all the comfort and gave money whenever he demanded. But this boy fell in the wrong company and developed all the bad habits. Noticing this, mother stopped giving him any more money. The boy developed hatred towards this mother, and mother too did not see any change in him. She was so fed up, she thought, I would just kill him. It's no use of having this type of a child who brings bad name to the society. So finally, she wanted to kill him by poisoning him and preparing delicious food. She mixed poison. The same day, the boy too planned to kill his mother. So when food was laid on the table, the mother was serving so lovingly. The boy took an iron rod and hit on the mother's head. She fell dead. And this boy later, he too died after consuming this poisonous food. So one should be very careful with this wealth. And in this connection, Swami Puran says that, so instead of inviting only Mother Lakshmi, let us invite Narayana too, to avoid these problems and to aspire to live in peace and not in plenty. Hari Om. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sudha. Nice explanation. You not only sing well, you explain well also. Lata?
Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Lata, your time starts.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. First of all, my pranam to divinity residing in all of you. Pranayamam Pratyaharam Nitya Nitya Vivek Vicharam Japya Sameta Samadhi Vidhanam Purvavadhanam Mahadavadhanam. Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. Sri Adi Shankaracharya's teaching by another anonymous disciple to the entire humanity, addressing a Kashi Pandit who has accomplished Bahiranga Sadhana, that is Gita Gyan, worshipping Lord, Satsanga, Dan, giving up the worldly desire. In this shloka, he explains how to practice Atranga Sadhana, that is pranayama, regulated breathing, sense control, discrimination of value between the eternal and transient, japa, meditation, sinking consciousness into unconsciousness. All above should be practiced with great care. Pranayama is based on five siddhanta: pran, apan, dhyan, saman, and udan. Having sense control on above, called pranayama, it is a unique, wonderful sadhana which simultaneously improves fitness of mind and body. Pratyahar is a withdrawing the pranic energy through the sense control and use it inward to increase or save the pranic shakti. According to the yogic drishti, human body has a 72,000 nadi, out of which 3 veins are Ida, Chandra Nadi, Pingala, Surya Nadi, and Sushumna Nadi. Kundalik Shakti gets awakened due to the active Sushumna Nadi. Nitya Nitya Viveka Vicharam. Nityam is permanent and Anityam is impermanent. Therefore, use your discretion and fix your goal properly and think from Viveka whether you want to continue as worldly manner or make a change to reach out towards the spiritual goal. Jatya Sameta Samadhi Vidhanam. It means through mantra japa or of your choice or Guru's guidance. This purifying discipline will lead to a samadhi. Samadhi means total absorption of mantras, which gives glimpse of your goal. That is Aham Brahmasmi. In mature state of samadhi, one gets experience of Jeev, Jad and Chetna. Samadhi with sadhana leads to an anubhuti of vibhuti. That is a Vishwarupa Sarupa, the feeling of abundance, and then the ultimate, Kevalam, that's the merging into the oneness, one and all, a supreme Paramananda. Purvam Dhanam, Mahadav Dhanam. Or at the end, after reading, reciting, and listening from the different sources, by taking a aviram, that's a pause in the thought process, Bhaj Govindam or Mohammadgara, appears satsang of Atma and Paramatma. In my Atma Anubhuti, divinity unfolds the precious facts of life at this moment. Govindam, Govindam Pati. He says, when you take a birth entering the universe, you have no choice than to cry. But at the time of the leaving the universe, I give you a choice. Come back to me with my precious gift to the human being. That is the signature of mine, a smile, by knowing me, living life, dedicating yourself with the great alertness required for practicing spirituality through the Vedic scriptures and the guidance of Guru. Take refuge in me by knowing me. Hari Om.
Thank you, Lata. We remember you for your grit and determination in the Kailash Yatra, but now you show that you could sing so well and explain this mantra so beautifully. Thank you. We go to the last speaker for the day, our revered senior teacher, Dr. Jagdish.
Gurubhyo Namah. Am I audible, sir? The volume is right?
Very clear, sir.
Thank you, sir. Shivkumar has already given us a framework about the last segment of this great work. Now, Bhaja Govindam is good to chant, beautiful like flowers, just as Narayan Murthy and Sudha rendered it a little while ago. But one should probe closely to get the nectar of the wisdom like the honey in the flowers. Now, because of the simplicity of the words, the melody of the verses, the cadence in the meter chosen, and above all, the thrill in the congregation song, as we all felt it today. Bhaja Govindam is generally considered among the minor works of Shankara. All great spiritual masters have the knack of giving the highest truth at the greatest moments of inspiration in the simplest of the languages. For us, fortunately, we experience this when we listen to the likes of Paramarthananda, Sri Satya Sai Baba, Sri Chinmayananda, and so on. Now, coming to the verse per se, Guru Charanam Bhuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha. Charanam Bhuja, that is the Guru's lotus feet. Cherish that moment, cherish the time. This next line, Samsarat Achirat Muktaha. Now get liberated from this samsara, Achirat. Muktaha, get rid of it. Third line, Sendriya Manasa Niyama Devam. That is, the Indriyas have to be controlled. The Manasa, the mind has to be controlled from yourself. And then come to the final line, Drakshasi Nija Hridayatyam Devam. You will experience the Devam in your heart. And that is the ultimate truth. Now, the two key teachings are: one, control your mind. Two, control your sense organs. Simple as that, but let's see how well we can execute it. And so to accomplish this, first is the necessity of a guru, because Spiritual pursuit is a long and complex exercise, and finding Guru is even more arduous. And having found one, merely doing archana, puja, garlanding, and all that is not enough. The real bhakti is in asking for the guidance and following it. Like Arjuna appeals to Krishna, Sahimam, teach me. Receiving the teaching and following in bhakti. Not just that, to establish our shishyahood, we should make ourselves fit, which is shown in the third line of the shloka. The indriya manasa niyamat means discipline of the indriyas and the mind. Now, just as you check the fitness of a car in terms of engine, tires, and chassis when contemplating on a long and arduous journey in a difficult terrain, so also our indriyas. The last line of the shloka, the most important one, is Nija hridayastam devam drakshasi. The truth, the ultimate truth, happens to be well within my heart, well within myself. Now, even Adi Shankara has not just preached this, but practiced it himself. His adoration and devoted surrender to his teacher Govindacharya, with the refrain in every stanza of this wonderful work, by uttering Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam. While in Mundakopanishad, the qualities of a good teacher is prescribed, Chandogya says it in very simple words. Acharya Purvo Veda, one who has a teacher alone can realize. Now, there are two key words as a take-home message: faith and devotion to the Guru, because that eases the student's path and levels down the slopes in his pilgrimage. Now, what is faith? Faith is to believe what you don't see, and the reward of this faith is to see what you believed. Now, without a teacher, the student is just a wayfarer, entirely blind, completely deaf, and sadly paralyzed. Having thus chastened our thoughts, we must realize mind and intellect is like a machine which takes the raw material at one end and a quality of products which comes out at the other end depends, one, on the quality and the condition of the machine, ourselves, the model, the proper maintenance, sadhana, and finally, a proper service manual, and that is our beloved Guru. Finally, Swami Param concludes by saying, all that is necessary is well within us. You need not go to the world, and he uses the beautiful phrase, with a begging bowl. Nobody is a beggar, it's all well within you. Once this is known, the emotional dependence on creation ends. The journey from the delusion to the discrimination, which is the ultimate, will be well over. Finally, for those of us like me who cannot find the right Guru at times, and Shankara concludes by telling them, Hi, Mudhamate, Govindam Bhaja, Govindam Nama Smaranam Kuru, because Nama Smaranat Anyam Upayam Nahi Pashyama. This is the last shloka in this work. He's just saying, you fool, only Namaswaranam constantly uttered is the remedy. Well, that may not lead you to liberation, but that Nama will produce ideal conditions for further sadhana. Now, let us hope we are a little more blessed than the Mudhamates, because we have gurus like Paramatmananda and Dr. Hegde. So, well, for me, this is like a flight, and I would like to first close all the cabin doors and socially distance myself, that is, isolate oneself. Next, switch off all the electronic gadgets as advised. Take away all the sensual inputs. Fasten the seatbelts. Discipline oneself. Straighten the seats. Make yourself steadfast. Wade over the pockets of turbulence. That is by steeling oneself in sadhana and receiving the prasadam in the end, not by the air hostess, but have a safe and smooth landing at the destination and receive the ultimate prasada. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. What a nice icing, poetic icing with the very picturesque icing that you gave us for the entire study of the Bhajagovinda. It looks like Sundar knows whom to give what verse. You did the perfect job. Great joy indeed that we have collectively completed the study of another beautiful text. Next week we will have another beautiful text again. It will be Upadeshasara. With that, I will formally conclude today's class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhakavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.